Hey, what's up, guys and gals? I have some updates for you, some important intel to share with you. You may have heard some, you may have not heard others. But before I do it, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification because I'm going to keep you looped in on everything this offseason, as you know. So, not only are the Yankees in on Matt Olson, they're also aggressively in on Brian Reynolds, center fielder from the Pittsburgh Pirates, which really excites me. And they're also one of 8 teams right now that are aggressively pursuing Max Scherzer. Crazy. But all those guys that I just mentioned, all 3 of them, can be had for just either cash or, trades. None of them come with a qualifying. Well, Max Scherzer doesn't come with a qualifying offer like Justin Verlander does, but we'll get to that. So the Matt Olson trade, obviously, that's going to cost. I think Oswald Peraza is going to have to be moved in that trade. I just don't see a scenario where they don't move him for Matt Olson, and especially if somehow on Planet Fantasyland, it becomes Matt Olson and Sean Murphy. That's going to be a whopper of a package coming from the Yankees. But we don't know if Sean Murphy's available yet. But he's another building block that the Yankees should be pursuing. We do know, according to John Heyman tonight, that Gary Sanchez is available for trade. So they mentioned that tonight, and John Heyman reported it. So I expect Sanchez to go to Oakland, obviously, in this trade, as well as Voit and probably Gleyber Torres and Oswald Peraza and maybe even Gio. They can give him probably. It's going to cost them 5 pieces to get those 2 guys if they can. But it may cost them 3 pieces to get if they get the Olsen or just Olsen alone. But that said, too, if they happen to move Gio in a trade for somewhat, DJ already is set to cover Gleyber Torres at second base, and that's already acts as a better defensive infield. If they get Matt Olson, they pop him at first. All they really need to do is fill in shortstop and third base, and they've already said they're going aggressively after shortstops. And the 4 most realistic guys I see are Marcus Semien, Trevor Story, Carlos Correa, and Corey Seager. Now, each one of those guys is attached to a qualifying offer, so the Yankees are going to have to give up draft picks and international signing money, okay, for both, as well as giving them a monster contract. But that's the only player, in my view, that I see that's attached to a qualifying offer that I see the Yankees bringing in, whoever plays shortstop. I'd be shocked if they went after Andrelton Simmons. I'd be shocked if they brought in Javi Baez. But who knows? Crazy things have happened. But also, Ken Rosenthal, said today that it sounds as if they're going to have a 2009 type offseason, meaning they went for the gusto that offseason. They wanted to win in the World Series. They went hard in free agency. They went hard in trades, and he sees the Yankees doing the same thing. Cashman's being pretty aggressive and kind of pinpointing guys, and he's already acknowledging holes and more holes that they want to fill a hell of a lot more than he usually does. So Rosenthal's saying that sounds as if they're going to have a 2009-ish offseason, which would be phenomenal. Not be afraid to make moves. Not be afraid to be. They haven't had the highest payroll since 2013, and they are the richest franchise in baseball by almost $2 billion. So it sounds as if he might be that latitude that he might be. Maybe Hal Steinbrenner said, "Dude, go get the guys we need to make it a championship team." So if that's the case, love it. So Matt Olson's going to cost a ton. Now, Brian Reynolds to me is the X factor because he's going to cost more than Matt Olson would. So right at the outset, I'm going to say that you're probably going to have to part with Jason Dominguez, the Martian, to get Brian Reynolds. That's not going to be very popular by a lot, but keep in mind too the things that that the type of player that Yankees want Jason Dominguez to be. Brian Reynolds already is. Okay, he's essentially Jason Dominguez finished product. He's 26, also switch hits. He bats for contact power. He's got speed. He plays elite defense. He does all these little things. Plus, he's got 4 years of team control left before he's a free agent. Okay, you could plug him right in center field. Now, if they're not willing to part with that type of package, I'd be shocked if they can get him without Dominguez. But if they can, all more power to Cashman. But if they find it too prohibitive, they can always go after Starling Marte for center field. And he was acquired at the trade deadline, so he's not attached to a qualifying offer, so all it would cost him is cash for him. So he's option B, but it looks like they're aggressively pursuing him. Now their competition here seems to be the Seattle Mariners. The Yankees do have 3 top 100 prospects. The Mariners have 4. okay, in Major League prospects. But all four of them are in the top 50. Okay, and 2 of them are like in the top 12. So they do have a much more significant higher end, batch of prospects than the Yankees do. But they also have, a pretty stacked outfield full of elite prospects. And their first prospect is number 2 overall in the major leagues, Julio Rodriguez. He'd probably have to go in that trade. I don't know if they're willing to do that. And if they're not, then the Yankees, at that point, should probably jump in with Jason Dominguez if you want to get Brian Reynolds. So, and it's going to a hell of a lot more too. It's going to cost more than that, obviously, prospects and players. So, I hate saying it, but I don't see Volpe going anywhere. Volpe, I think, is going to stay. And but I see Oswald Peraza being moved in a trade for Matt Olson, and Jason Dominguez and a lot more being moved in a trade for Brian Reynolds if it happens. And it'll be a combination of minor leaguers and major leaguers because they do have to clear roster spots too. There are 40 right now, and they have until the 19th of the month, which is a week, to protect some of their players from the Rule 5 draft. So they're going to have to clear 4 or 5 roster spots in the next week. So they're going to be really busy one way or another. So and I'll be surprised if they move Voit, they move Torres, they move Andujar, they move Frazier. Like these trades to me are going to be like a 5 for 2 if it's Oakland or something like that, or 3 for 1. And the Pirates are probably going to be 4 for 1 or something like that. So they can clear up a bunch of roster spots either way, which would be address needs for the Yankees on both ends, and obviously would give the Pirates and the Oakland A's what they need. So, but that still remains to be seen. Now, as it comes to pitching, I said Max Scherzer would only cost cash because he was traded at the deadline this year also, so he's not attached to a qualifying offer. Justin Verlander is, and we've already heard to expect probably a 2-year deal between $50 to $60 million for Justin Verlander, which is crazy coming off Tommy John and being 39 years old. But again, that they could just be shooting for the stars, and they'll wind up landing in the clouds. You never know. You might be able to get him for 2 years, $24 million, which is still more than the 18.4 qualifying offer that maybe all he wants. He's 39. So, but that said, also, Max Scherzer is not coming off Tommy John, but you probably have to pay him 3 years, $100 million. So, weighing the two options, Scherzer seems to be the more appealing option at this point. But they may say that's too expensive and he's too old, and he may just go after somebody like Carlos Rodon instead of these guys and instead of Robbie Ray, because Robbie Ray also has a qualifying offer attached to him. Rodon does not. He would only cost cash, and he would give them that high upside lefty starting pitcher to plug in behind Garrett Cole to not only give him a number 2, but to also close the gap between him and the rest of the rotation. So I still think they should get 2 starters, and I'm of that opinion. I will not change that opinion because they constantly lose starting pitchers due to injury every year. So, but if there's any way they get Matt Olson and Brian Reynolds, changes the whole lineup, the whole makeup of the team. So, really, elite defense, and it gives them the 2 lefties. Well, Reynolds is a switch hitter, but that changes everything for the Yankees. And if they get these 2 and Scherzer, forget it. You plug in Scherzer and Cole, man. Even Verlander and Cole, man. But, Verlander might be, he might be the right guy at the wrong time kind of thing. Verlander 5 years ago would have been perfect. So I don't know if Verlander's the right option, particularly when he has that qualifying offer attached. And like I said, I think they're only going to go after one player that's attached to a QO, and I think it's going to be their shortstop. So, with that said, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're getting all the reporting here from Feinstein and John Heyman and Ken Rosenthal, and expect the Yankees to be aggressive. And Cashman he's got his feet in a lot of fires. And I'm actually going to check. I'm going to check right now to see, while we're here live time, to see if there's anything that's new. Just to give it a check. Why not? No, I don't see anything yet. So that's the updates right now. But significant updates one way or another. Several ones today. So the Yankees are being aggressive on Brian Reynolds. They're still obviously pursuing Matt Olson. That's going to be an ongoing thing. But they're one of the 8 teams aggressively going after Max Scherzer too. So some big names and have some huge impact. But again, Olson and Reynolds alone changes the whole game for the Yankees. So let's get into this one.